Welcome to this explosive edition of entertainment news where the world of British television just got a whole lot steamier. Imagine the set of ITV's beloved daytime staple, Loose Women, buzzing with its usual mix of candid chatter, laughter, and the occasional spark of debate. But today, something went terribly awry, turning a routine guest appearance into a full-blown showdown that has social media ablaze and headlines screaming across every tabloid from The Sun to the Daily Mail. The culprit? None other than the suave, silver-haired heartthrob Bill Nighy, the 75-year-old acting legend known for his impeccable roles in Pirates of the Caribbean, Love Actually, and that unforgettable turn as Davy Jones. Bill, with his signature wry humor and understated charm, was invited onto the panel to promote his latest film project, a poignant drama about aging gracefully in a youth-obsessed world. The Loose Women panel, a formidable quartet of voices led by the fiery Denise Welch, alongside Colleen Nolan, Judy Love, and Nadia Sawalha, was primed for a light-hearted chat about Hollywood glamour, personal insecurities, and perhaps a dash of flirtatious banter. Denise, at 67, with her no-nonsense Geordie grit and decades of experience as a soap star and outspoken advocate for mental health, has long been the show's unapologetic powerhouse, never shying away from calling out hypocrisy or defending her progressive views with the ferocity of a lioness. The stage was set in the bright, colorful studio of ITV's London headquarters, where the audience of mostly women in their 40s and 50s clapped enthusiastically as Bill sauntered in, his lanky frame draped in a tailored tweed jacket, exuding that effortless British eccentricity. Cameras rolled, the theme music faded, and host Christine Lampard introduced him with effusive praise, highlighting his BAFTA wins and his recent honor at the Evening Standard Film Awards. Bill, ever the gentleman, flashed a sheepish grin and quipped, "Well, darlings, it's a pleasure to be surrounded by such formidable company. Makes me feel like I'm back in a cabinet meeting with all the prime ministers I've played." The panel erupted in giggles, and for the first few minutes, it was all smooth sailing. Bill regaled them with tales from the set of his new film, sharing how he had to learn to waltz for a scene that left him with bruised toes and a newfound respect for dancers. Denise leaned in, her eyes twinkling with genuine admiration, commenting on how Bill's portrayal of flawed yet endearing characters resonated with her own life's rollercoaster, from her battles with depression to her triumphant return to the spotlight. The conversation flowed like a well-aged scotch, touching on the pressures of fame, the joys of grandparenthood. Bill's daughter Mary is a talented actor in her own right, and even a cheeky aside about his rumored flirtations with Anna Wintour, which he dismissed with a wave and a pure fiction. "My dear said, I'm wedded to the craft." But beneath this veneer of camaraderie, subtle tensions simmered, waiting for the spark that would ignite the powder keg. As the segment progressed, the panel shifted to a viewer-submitted question about intergenerational workplace dynamics, a hot topic post-pandemic, where older stars like Bill lament the perceived laziness of Gen Z while younger voices push back on outdated expectations. Colleen Nolan jumped in first, sharing a story from her tour days about millennials who ghosted rehearsals, eliciting nods from the audience. Judy Love added a balanced take, praising the innovation of younger creatives but acknowledging the grind it takes to build a career like Bill's. Then it was Denise's turn. With her trademark passion, she launched into a defense of the youth, arguing that systemic issues like mental health crises and economic instability have reshaped work ethic, not entitlement. "It's not laziness, love, it's survival in a world that chews you up and spits you out faster than a bad audition," she declared, her voice rising with conviction. Bill, sipping from his water glass, listened politely at first, but as Denise elaborated, drawing parallels to her son Matty Healy's experiences in the music industry with the 1975, a flicker of disagreement crossed his patrician features. He interjected gently, "But Denise, there's something to be said for the discipline of the old school, showing up rain or shine, no excuses. I started in rep theater at 20, sleeping on floors, and it built character." The audience murmured in agreement, but Denise, sensing a patronizing undertone, fired back without missing a beat, "Character? Bill, darling, that's code for exploitation. We've moved on from glorifying suffering as a badge of honor." The studio lights seemed to dim under the weight of the exchange, And what began as a polite debate quickly escalated into pointed barbs, with Bill defending the merits of perseverance and Denise accusing him of romanticizing a bygone era that marginalized women and minorities. The other panelists tried to media town Nadia suggesting a middle ground, Judy cracking a joke about boomers versus zoomers, but the heat was rising, and the audience's applause turned to uneasy whispers. Little did they know, this was just the prelude to the storm that would see Bill Nighy unceremoniously escorted from the set, his reputation as the affable uncle of British cinema hanging by a thread. As the argument intensified, Denise leaned forward, her bangles clinking like warning bells, and challenged Bill directly. "So, tell me, Mr. Nighy, when you were building character on those cold theater floors, did it ever occur to you that not everyone had the privilege of white male resilience to fall back on?" Bill's jaw tightened, his trademark drawl sharpening as he retorted, "Privilege, my dear? I clawed my way up without a silver spoon. Ask any actor who's truly earned their stripes." The words landed like a slap, and the studio fell into a stunned silence broken only by the hum of the cameras. Producers in the control room exchanged frantic glances, whispering into headsets about commercial breaks, but the damage was done. Denise's face flushed with righteous anger, her years of advocacy for equality bubbling over into a torrent of words that left Bill visibly taken aback. "Earn their stripes, that's the problem with your generation. You pat yourselves on the back for surviving a system you helped perpetuate," she exclaimed, her voice echoing off the studio walls. Bill, not one to back down easily, rose to his full height, his hands gesturing emphatically as he countered with stories of his early struggles, from rejected auditions to typecasting as the posh toff. The back and forth grew heated, voices overlapping in a cacophony that drowned out the moderator's attempts to regain control. Audience members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, some nodding along with Denise's fiery points, others applauding Bill's eloquent defense of grit. Social media was already lighting up at tweets flying in real time from viewers at home, #loose women drama trending within minutes, with clips of the exchange going viral on TikTok and Instagram Reels. One user posted, "Bill Nighy just got schooled by Denise Welch. Iconic or over the top? #Team Denise." Another chimed in, "Love Bill, but Denise is spitting facts." Time for boomers to listen. The argument veered into personal territory when Denise referenced Bill's high-profile roles, suggesting they were buoyed by industry nepotism, a low blow that made Bill's eyes narrow. "Nepotism? I've outworked every pretty face in this town," he snapped, his usual composure cracking like fine china. The panel erupted, calling, trying to laugh it off, Judy placing a calming hand on Denise's arm, but it was too late. As the clock ticked toward the ad break, a producer signaled frantically from the wings, but Bill, in a moment of uncharacteristic impulsiveness, stood up abruptly, declaring, "This isn't a discussion, it's an inquisition." With that, he stormed toward the exit, his coattails flapping like a cape in retreat. Security personnel, caught off guard, followed at a discreet distance, ensuring he didn't trip over cables in his haste. The audience gasped collectively, a mix of shock and thrill rippling through the crowd as Denise sat back, breathing heavily, muttering, "Well, that's one way to end a segment." The cameras cut to black just in time, but the footage leaked almost immediately, courtesy of a sneaky audience member with a phone. By the time the show returned from break, the internet was a battlefield, forums dissecting every word, celebrities weighing in, Stephen Fry tweeting support for Bill's dignified exit, while Jamila Jamil praised Denise's unfiltered truth-telling. ITV issued a hasty statement, "We value open dialogue on loose women, but regret any discomfort caused to our guest." Yet, as the dust settled, one thing was clear: this wasn't just a spat, it was a cultural flashpoint, exposing the raw nerves of generational divide in an industry still grappling with its past sins. Bill Nighy, kicked off the set after mere minutes, became an unwitting symbol of old guard resistance, while Denise Welch solidified her status as the voice of change, her argument not just heated but historic. And as we delve deeper into this saga, we'll uncover the backstories, the reactions, and the ripple effects that have everyone from Hollywood elites to everyday viewers picking sides in this televised tussle of titans. Stay tuned, because this story is just heating up. With exclusive insights, eyewitness accounts, and perhaps even a reconciliation on the horizon, or will it fester into full-blown feud? The drama unfolds layer by layer, revealing not just what was said, but why it mattered so profoundly in our divided times. To truly grasp the magnitude of this loose women meltdown, we must rewind the clock and paint a vivid portrait of the two protagonists at the heart of the fray, Bill Nighy and Denise Welch, whose careers and personas could not be more diametrically opposed, yet whose collision course was perhaps inevitable in the pressure cooker of modern media. Bill Nighy, born in 1949 in the sleepy Surrey town of Caterham, emerged from a lineage of car dealers and homemakers, his path to stardom a meandering one marked by youthful rebellion and serendipitous breaks. After a stint at the Guildford School of Acting, where he honed his craft amid the fog of 1970s Britain, Bill cut his teeth in provincial theatre, embodying everything from Shakespearean fools to Ibsen anti-heroes with a lanky grace that belied his inner turmoil. His breakthrough came in the 1980s with roles in BBC dramas like The Men's Room, but it was the 1990s State of Play and the noughties Love Actually that catapulted him to international darling status. That scene where he lip-syncs to Jump for his secretary remains a holiday classic, cementing his image as the rumpled romantic with a heart of gold. Off-screen, Bill's life has been a study in quiet eccentricity, a 17-year marriage to photographer Miranda Hancock that ended amicably, a daughter Mary who followed in his footsteps as a playwright and performer, and a personal philosophy rooted in Stoicism, influenced by his flirtations with Buddhism and a lifelong aversion to the Hollywood hustle. He's the actor who turns down blockbusters for indie gems, who supports causes like the homeless charity crisis with genuine fervor, and whose dry we-to-think self-deprecating quips about his undone bow tie has endeared him to generations. Yet, beneath that avuncular exterior lies a man who's weathered personal storms. The loss of his wife to cancer in 2023, which he channeled into raw, vulnerable performances, earning him an Oscar nod for a living. Bill's worldview, shaped by post-war austerity and the meritocracy myth of British theatre, emphasizes resilience, punctuality, and a stiff upper lip, virtues he holds dear, even as the world evolves around him. Contrast this with Denise Welch, the Newcastle-born firebrand whose trajectory reads like a soap opera plot twist at every turn. Born in 1958 to a miner father and a teacher mother, Denise's early life in Whitney Bay was steeped in working-class grit, her dreams of stardom fueled by BBC radio plays and a rebellious streak that saw her drop out of school at 16 to chase acting gigs. Her big break came in the 1980s with Coronation Street as hapless Natalie Horrocks, but it was the 1990s Soldier that made her a household name, her portrayal of the volatile Georgie Buchanan blending vulnerability with venom. Life off-set was no less dramatic. Marriages to actors Tim Healy and Grant Bovey, 4 sons including the rock star Matty Healy, and a very public battle with clinical depression that led to breakdowns, rehab, and a memoir, The Unwelcome Visitor, that became a beacon for mental health awareness. Denise's activism is her superpower. She's marched for LGBTQ+ rights, slammed Brexit with Geordie gusto, and used her platform to call out tabloid toxicity, once famously feuding with Katie Hopkins over body shaming. On Loose Women since 2005, she's the panel's beating heart, unafraid to weep openly or roar in defense of the underdog, her catchphrase "I'm just keeping it real" a mantra for authenticity in an age of filters. Where Bill embodies refined restraint, Denise is raw release, her opinions forged in the fires of lived hardship rather than scripted elegance. Their paths had crossed peripherally before real, both at BAFTA galas, mutual admiration via industry gossip, but never in the arena of live TV, where unscripted truths collide like tectonic plates. Enter the fateful day of October 20, 2025, when Loose Women producers, eyeing ratings gold, booked Bill for a segment on aging in the spotlight, hoping his charm would balance Denise's edge. The invite was innocuous enough: discuss the film's themes of legacy and reinvention, perhaps share laughs over shared ailments like bad backs from long shoots. But as rehearsals wrapped and the live light blinked on, the universe conspired for chaos. The panel's chemistry was electric from the jump, Judy's booming laugh setting a jovial tone, calling saucy anecdotes drawing cheers. But when the topic pivoted to generational gaps, the fault lines appeared. Bill, drawing from his rep theater days, extolled the virtues of paying dues, recounting a 1972 tour where he performed Hamlet with pneumonia, because that's what you did, no whining, just work. The audience lapped it up, seeing echoes of their own bootstraps ethos. Denise, however, bristled. Her own dues included single motherhood on benefits, auditions dismissed for being too northern, and a career stalled by mental illness stigma. Paying dues sounds noble till you realize it was a boys' club rigged from the start, she interjected, her tone laced with steel. Bill, mistaking it for banter, chuckled and replied, "Ah, but we all started at the bottom." Denise sweat equity over sob stories. The word sob hung in the air like smoke, igniting Denise's fuse. What followed was a masterclass in verbal jousting, Denise dismantling the myth of equal opportunity with stats on gender pay gaps. Women actors earn 30% less, per Equity reports. Bill countering with anecdotes of his female colleagues' successes, from Emma Thompson to Kate Winslet, who thrived despite the odds. But Denise wasn't having it, pointing out survivorship bias. For every Emma, there's a dozen Denises scrubbing by on telepanels because the films went to the posh birds. The exchange accelerated, words flying faster than the audience could process. Bill accusing modern actors of fragility, Denise retorting with "That's privilege talking, not wisdom." The other women tried valiantly, Nadia piping up with, "Let's not forget intersectionality, loves," and Judy quipping, "I'm with Bo to hustle hard, but hug harder." Yet the momentum was unstoppable, the studio thick with tension as Bill's face reddened, his hands clenching the table edge. In a pivotal moment, Denise referenced Bill's Love Actually role. "You played the PM charming the world, but charm doesn't fix systemic sexism, does it?" Bill, stung, shot back, "And playing the victim doesn't advance it either." Gasps rippled through the crowd. This was no longer debate, it was duel. As voices peaked, overlapping in a symphony of indignation, a stage manager rushed on, mic in hand, whispering urgently to Christine. But Bill, pride pricked, pushed back his chair with a screech that echoed like a gunshot, standing tall and declaring, "I've no time for this revisionist history. Good day." He pivoted on his heel, striding past the flabbergasted panel toward the green room door, where two burly security guards, more habit than necessity, flanked him like reluctant escorts. Denise, mid-sentence, trailed off into stunned silence, then burst into a mix of laughter and exasperation. "Well, bugger me, kicked out by the undead pirate himself." The audience erupted in a chaotic blend of boos, cheers, and applause, phones out capturing the exodus for posterity. Behind the scenes, chaos reigned, producers scrambling to salvage the segment, PR teams drafting apologies, and Bill, in the makeup room, fuming to his agent about bloody ambush journalism. Denise, meanwhile, huddled with her co-stars, venting steam over tea. "He started it with that dude's nonsense. I'm not here to stroke egos." The clip hit X, formerly Twitter, at light speed, amassing millions of views, with hashtags like #BillVS.Denise and #LooseWomenBrawl dominating feeds. Celebrities piled in. Idris Elba siding with Bill's old school honor, Phoebe Waller-Bridge cheering Denise's feminist fire. Pundits dissected it on BBC Breakfast, calling it the clash of titans that exposes Tinseltown's generation war. ITV's damage control was swift, a tweet affirming passionate discourse is our ethos, but whispers of lawsuits swirled. Bill's team hinting at defamation, Denise's camp prepping for backlash. Yet, in the eye of the storm, both emerged sharper, their legacies intertwined in this moment of unfiltered fury. As reactions poured in from fans worldwide via petitions for Bill's return, memes of Denise as a warrior queen of the incident transcended gossip, sparking dialogues on equity in entertainment, the weight of words on live TV, and whether icons like Bill and Denise can evolve or if they're doomed to clash in the Coliseum of progress. The immediate aftermath of Bill Nighy's abrupt departure from the Loose Women set was nothing short of pandemonium, a whirlwind of flashing cameras, frantic phone calls, and a social media storm that rivaled the biggest celebrity scandals of the year. As the studio door swung shut behind Bill and his security shadow, The remaining panelists were left in a tableau of awkward hilarity, Denise fanning herself with a cue card, calling Nolan wide-eyed and mouthing what the actual? Judy Love shaking her head with a booming Lord have mercy, that escalated quick, and Nadia Sawalhu signaling desperately to producers for a lifeline. Christine Lampard, the unflappable host, ad-libbed a hasty segue. Well, folks, that was certainly spirited. Let's take a quick break and return with more on celebrity feuds that fizzled into friendships. But the damage was irreparable. The control room buzzed like a beehive on fire, executives barking orders to kill the feed early and reruns scrubbed clean. Backstage, Bill retreated to his dressing room, a sanctuary of half-unpacked garment bags and lukewarm chamomile tea, where his publicist, a harried woman named Fiona with a clipboard thicker than War and Peace, bombarded him with updates. Bill, love, it's trending. Nighy kicked off at #1 globally. Piers Morgan's already calling it the death of chivalry on his show. Bill, slouched in an armchair, pinched the bridge of his nose, his voice a gravelly murmur. Bloody hell, I went in for a jolly chat about waltzing grannies, not a bloody gladiatorial bout. Did I really say sob stories? Christ, that's my mother's line from '72. He paced the room, replaying the exchange in his mind, a knot of regret twisting in his gut, and not just for the words, but for losing his cool, a rarity for the man who'd navigated Oscar campaigns with zen-like calm. Meanwhile, in the green room across the hall, Denise Welch held court amid a circle of supportive crew, her adrenaline still pumping as she dissected the drama with theatrical flair. He looked at me like I'd spat in his Earl Grey. But come on. The man's been swanning through roles since I was changing nappies, a time someone called it. Her phone vibrated incessantly. A texts from Maddie. Mum, your viral ag ain't a proud but worried. Calls from her agent. ITV's panicking they want a joint statement. And a flood of DMs from fans hailing her as the queen of clapbacks. The panel reconvened for the post-show debrief, a ritual of tea and tears where truths tumbled out. Colleen admitted she'd cringed at Bill's dues dig. Judy confessed to stifling a cheer when Denise landed her punchline, and Nadia worried aloud about the show's rep as a feud factory. ITV overlords descended like avenging angels, a stern-faced controller named Marcus lecturing on boundaries while secretly thrilled at the ratings spike. A viewership up 40% mid-argument, ads selling out in minutes. Outside, paparazzi swarmed the Elstree Studios gates, lenses trained on every exit, hoping for a teary Bill or defiant Denise. Bill slipped out the back in a nondescript Volvo, shades on, muttering to Fiona about needing a stiff GT and a long walk in the Cotswolds. Denise, ever the showwoman, posed for a quick snap with fans, flashing a peace sign and quipping, "Survived another one, lads." By evening, the digital deluge hit tsunami levels. X-threads dissected every micro-expression of Bill's eyebrow arch at 2:14. Denise's bangle-jangle as punctuation, while Reddit's entertainment subreddit exploded with 50k upvote analyses titled Nighy vs. Welch, Boomer Rage or Valid Critique. TikTokers remixed the clip to Cardi B tracks, Instagram influencers debated who won the war of words, and YouTube reaction videos racked up millions overnight. Mainstream media piled on. The Guardian ran a think piece when icons collide, the perils of live TV authenticity, praising Denise's candor. The Telegraph countered with Nighy's exit, a gentleman wrongly vilified, quoting anonymous sources close to Bill decrying ambush tactics. Celeb reactions fueled the fiery. Helen Bonham Carter, Bill's old collaborator, tweeted, "Darling Bill, you're a treasure, you don't let the hyenas howl," while Denise's pal Dawn French posted a video hug emoji with "Sis, you slayed the Dragona tea soon." Even international outlets chimed in. Variety called it Brit TV's Real Housewives moment. TMZ speculated on lawsuits, Nighy lawyering up, and Australian breakfast shows replayed it with added kangaroo puns. Fans mobilized en masse petitions on change.org demanding Bill's return. "Give us Nighy unfiltered," clashed with counter-campaigns. "Protect Denise, no more mansplaining on LW," amassing signatures in the tens of thousands. Late-night hosts got in on the act. James Corden, from his LA perch, joked Bill stormed off like he was late for the after "Lafia love you, mate." While Graham Norton quipped on his podcast, Denise could argue with a statue and win a bill, call me for debrief drinks. Behind closed doors, agents negotiated furiously. Bill's team floated a solo interview on the Graham Norton show to set the record straight. Denise's plotted a loose women follow-up where she'd own it without apology. Family waited until Bill Nighy texted her dad, proud you spoke your truth, but mum would say hug it out, while Maddie Healy Live tweeted my mum's a warrior Bill, respect the Geordie glow up. As night fell on London, the incident's emotional toll emerged. Bill, alone in his Kensington flat, poured over fan mail, hundreds praising his grace under fire, a balm to his bruised ego. Denise, curled up with her hubby Lincoln Townley, laughed through tears at memes of herself as Xena, but confided a twinge of guilt, hope I didn't scar the old soda, he's a good egg under the Polish. Sleep evaded both, minds racing with what ifs, but dawn brought clarity. This wasn't defeat, but a catalyst. By morning, brand deals trickled in, a Bill for a menswear line touting timeless grit, Denise for a mental health app on fierce boundaries. The scandal's silver lining, it humanized them, stripping away the gloss to reveal flesh and blood firebrands in a polished world. Yet, as apologies loomed and reconciliations whispered, one question lingered: could this heated argument forge unlikely allies, or fracture the fragile bridge between old and new Hollywood forever? The fallout's full force was yet to crest, promising more twists in this tale of televised tempests.